wonder if it would actually let me just die or not. What happens if I die too much? I don't know. Whoops. Okay, let's see what we got. I brought all the things that had power, but didn't give any oxygen. Whoopsie. Is this the only thing I got out of that? Oh my god. This thing still doesn't want to be taken. Let's see if we got any of the good stuff. Bivalve bloom? Yeah. Oh my god, look at those. They're so cute. They look like nautilus natali. But maybe this is flexible, not like a hard shell. Or it looks like birds of paradise, which took me forever to realize where the bird was in the birds of paradise. Where was I? Crap. This one. Right? Yeah. Bloom veins conceal themselves in bronze-colored shells most of the time, only coming out with the opportunity to feed presents itself. Highly attuned to the currents and flows of the bloom, bivalve bloom veins take advantage of any break in the bloom's flow to unfold their shells and feed. They are primarily on the bloom's microbial growth itself, able to quickly establish and maintain a feeding zone of oxygenated water. When a bloom vein tries, it will then retreat back into its shell, burying itself in the silt once more. I would like to understand more about how the bloom veins are able to feed directly on the microbes of the bloom. Considering the extremely high toxicity, perhaps something we uncover here could be useful for future expeditions into the unforgiving landscape. Sampling and analyzing bubble growths from the bloom shows that they are a form of algae, but with incredible adaptability, because they are animals. I wonder how big they are. They have a distinctive chemical structure, but notable to the study of bloom veins, it is the presence of a compound similar to domoic acid within bloom bubbles. Domoic acid is a neurotoxin known to produce memory loss and confusion in animals, which suggests that an erratic and frantic feeding behavior of bloom veins when feeding is in reality a form of frenzy brought on by the consumption of the neurotoxin. How is this process isn't deadly to the bloom veins is unclear. The volumes of neurotoxin they are consuming are vast, enough to kill an adult human. Perhaps if I can directly examine a bloom vein, or at least its shell, I can understand their resistance. After being lucky enough to come across an entire shell, the analysis has proven some possible explanations for the creature's neurotoxin resistance. So it does have a shell. The shell itself was found to have a radial pattern of tiny holes in certain areas, all of which were found to have high concentration of the bloom neurotoxin. It seems that when the bloom vein is in its hidden resting state, it exudes the neurotoxin through its shell, processing the glucose and bloom growth separately. This exuded neurotoxin coats the bloom vein shell and the surrounding area, making the creature potentially deadly to any predator. This adaptation to the bloom is therefore a highly effective defense mechanism, even if the bloom vein itself is constantly on the edge of frenzied neurotoxin-induced death. And we didn't get all the info here. At least we got something out of me dying in the middle of the map. Let's see what we got. Okay, we got one of them. What? What was the nesting weavers? Oh no, I hope I didn't eat it by accident when I was trying in my frenzy. Is this not it? Fan dust, crap. No, I didn't I get Nest workers, is this it? No. It was this. Oh. Did it give us anything good? No. I'm so upset about the stupid nest. Well, we got one of them. And we are far less further down than I expected. You know, I was lost. Let's just say it how it is. Next time we'll try to get to at least the Baikal site. As they say, priority. It says site 2. Well, we're already lost over here. We might as well keep going. We'll go back out into the world. Maybe we won't die, and maybe we will. Learned from last time. Let's get all of these, everything. Maybe these are the nest workers I thought that I got. Okay, all I know is that we're supposed to go down, and I somehow got pretty off course. Let's try again. Last time I tried to go rightish. I don't know if going straight down... This is like taking me kind of leftish. I will trust in the guidance. Maybe it's this way. Some help this fan dust was last time. I shouldn't be mean. It actually was helpful a little bit. I would have died much faster without it. And now that I've been down here before, the markers are a little confusing. Like, is this the way? Is it not the way? Ah, yes, something new. Abandoned base. Oh my god, so close. Minae clearly tried to establish a base here, but was unable to resist the bloom. Oh, is this the first one that we came across? No, it was, it was unmarked. Is it this thing? In the shadow of the bridge, the water here is still unclear. Metal traces. Among the rocks, twisted remains of some equipment most likely brought here by Minae lies oxidized and caked in growth. Is there anything to be found here, or am I just blindly in this green desert? Boy, that's how I feel. Thick fibers cobweb the dark entrance. Oh, yes. I thought we'd have to go all the way over here. Dense bubbles. Curved walls streaked in cascades of green bubbles, all glassy and sickly green in the light of the suit's headlamps. Bloom bubble. Get my list back up. A bloom bubble is not one of it. Is that froth though? Is this the froth that I was looking for? It's sealed shut. Let's slice it open. Collapsed chamber. Choked with rock and sand, the metal chamber is deathly still. The angular shapes of industrial machinery lie in wait. The pillars, which stretch up towards the cavernous roof of the chamber, are warped and distorted, barely able to hold the weight. I guess this is her just talking to us every single time. Hulking machines built for industrial use sit covered in a fine layer of sand growth. It was a place where people worked. I feel like if they had voice acting, though, it would be easier to keep up. But maybe that's just me. But then what would I do? I would just sit here and listen. You wouldn't have the ability to listen to my sweet, sweet voice. Half of the rock ceiling above the chamber seems to have come down at once, burying most of the room. Look, that's the tank. Oh, look, that tank. It's filled with microbial growth. What was this place? Be careful. The water will be just as toxic as it is above. Oh, no. Here's the froth. Here's the froth. Bubbles. Clogged vent. This dark hole in the floor is spewing out the same microbial clumps as seen in the bloom above. They settle around the vent in layers. So let's just keep going down into it. Why don't we, huh? Oh my god, let's get out of this. Okay, we can read about it now. This side of the vast tank has been corroded away, melted by incredibly dense volume of microbes. Caved-in ceiling. Huge volumes of rock and sand must have smashed through the layers of the facility, burying it and its occupants. Crushed room. Whether it was the control room or storage shed, this room has totally been crushed by the facility's collapse. Sir, Dr. Hess has arrived from Site 1. Send him through. Constant has full clearance. Constantin. I know they had numbers, but, you know, I went to this one first. Derelict vehicle. The shell of some corroded maintenance vehicle is flooded with sand. Shattered walls. Bicol containers marked with dull yellow biohazard tape. What were they shipping in the facility? This is no lab. This is an industrial facility. These containers must have carried some vital resource for its operation. Fuel, perhaps? Yeah, don't go over there. So we came down this hole. We're going back up this way. To a totally different area. Oh. I went down one, came back the other. We haven't gone all the way this way yet. Can we not go to the right? I want to get over to the right area. Feel like I'm missing a waypoint or something. Weird. Maybe there's another way to get over there? Weird. I hope I'm not missing anything too grand. That's so suspicious. It looked like there was another hole on the outside of the chamber. Maybe that's how you get over there. I hope there's another way over there. Or that I'm just not supposed to go there. This one. Whoopsie. Now I'm eyeing this little spot because it feels like it's totally where we're supposed to go. An outcrop. This fan looks greener than others. It's still like its spine's clogged. I'm still looking for... crap. We'll come back. I want to see if we can get closer to the other one. Maybe I won't come back. I don't know what I'm saying. But my curiosity getting into that other side of the collapsed facility is more intriguing. A dead fan? Crap. There's nothing else to get that way. Is there a way to go from above? Because going lower seems like the wrong way. This is mostly for the oxygen at this point. Crap. I'm very determined, but I might die. Oh, the power is gone. Unless she yells at me again. I don't actually know if there's like a negative side to fainting. Like, do I lose stuff? Do I just get a slap on the wrist being like, that's not very good. You died. Whoops. I don't know. We got one more sample and we saw a little bit more. Of the site. I don't know if we saw all of what it wanted us to. I don't actually know what I just grabbed. This is of the fan. I thought I got froth too, but definitely am getting a little lost in the sauce. I think I have read about the bloomfan in a previous episode, but this is what they look like. Century nodules, filtering spines. The shape is really pretty. Anchored limbs and head. If they're actual holes instead of just spines, it'd look very monstera-y. But it looks like it's has stuff in between them. A study of a piece of bloomfan stem reveals that below the sand, a bloomfan has 4 jointed legs and a head with a circular mouth. Using these, the bloomfan scrapes through rock and sand in order to extract minerals and biological compounds. Bloomfans may feed on the rock or even the buried eggs of other bloom specimens. This source of nutrients, when supplemented by the oxygen gathered through its tail fan, which is in fact more of an external lung, is enough to sustain the bloomfan for a long period, especially due to its mostly static lifestyle. It does look very planty. With this also suggests that there may be a larger subterranean ecosystem which remains undiscovered beneath the bloom. This is where life has retreated in the toxic conditions. So this is catches oxygen for it. That's pretty cool. And it's an animal, so yeah, it's not getting the CO2. Did we do enough? Yes, we did not get the froth or the nesting weaver's nest. But we did knock off one site, which is pretty good. Yeah, let's just go to the East Reef. And we'll head straight east. If we want to mess with all the entries later, maybe I'll come back. Why do I keep saying that? I don't know if I'll come back. It was just really convenient the last time. So the last time we were here, the currents were strong enough that we couldn't propel ourselves in this direction. I think that was the deal. I also forget how these things work. Kind of like I forgot how the oxygen bubble worked, but whoops. Crap. This seems like the wrong way to do this, right? We need something for it to grow onto. I'm assuming... Oh, do I have to use the propulsion? I forgot that that was even like a setting on this thing. I was gonna go look for some rocks with yellow bits on them to grow more things. Maybe there's another waypoint up here if it's generous. It is not that generous. Let's go back. I honestly forgot that there is a propulsion in this entire suit. I'm like, yeah, we needed the propulsion. I thought it was just gonna do it automatically. Okay, let's try again. Yes, this is what we need. This is a good speed, too. Large pillar extends down the murk. This is moving quite quickly. I'm hoping this will give me enough oxygen. It's new. Shed feather. Watch me eat all of it. More new stuff. Do you have tons of oxygen for me to nibble on? Okay, let's go back and read any of that. Pillar garden. This pillar is topped with a layer of bright and sunlit life. Looking around, each of the pillars here has the same green gold peak. It's kind of nice to not be in the dark. Patterns of the dents in the sand show the paths of feathery creatures that cross pillar to pillar, slow and purposeful loops. There's a silken plant here. These twisted strands are like webs between the pillars. Let's start logging them. Oh wow, they really are paths. Silken strands. Tendril holes. These two tendril bridges almost meet before disappearing into holes in the pillar. Are they rooted to the rock inside? Well, they're helping me cross from the strong current, so I'm all for it. These funny feathery creatures are all around these gardens. Let's start observing their movements. Lots of new stuff over here. When it says that it's both oxygen and power, kind of like this one, does it matter which one I put it into? Here, or does it do both? Hold pillar. These creatures are tricky to catch a glimpse of. Let's see if we can scare up a few more. Twisted tendrils. What dictates which pillars our tendrils stretch to and from? I'm yet to see the tendril, which is only half formed. Lots to sample. I've named these sea silk, though I'm not sure what kind of plant it is. Check my notes back at base. You know I will. So does this mean we already have it, right? This is this stuff. Open water. The green tendrils don't seem to reach east beyond this point, preferring instead to turn back to the protected water south of here. Blue haze. Away from the pillars, the ocean grants a sense of vertigo, fading down to the unknown depths below. I'm happy we're not proposing across everything, because I feel like I couldn't read anything. It's a very fast meter. This pillar, unlike the others, lacks a garden of its own. Have the plants been cleared, or are they simply not reached this far yet? Nope, they've definitely been cleared. This is the base, right? The light of the system's 3 suns falls onto something amber and huge in the east. It's almost like a pale orange cloud. The other thing that's nice about this area is that the color is easier to read. The red is hard for me to see. This translucent tentacle doesn't have a fixed shape. Its individual parts instead cycle through developmental phases as they go here. This looks like a fish swimming in a school. That's what they're called. The thing they famously swim in. This creature is impossibly large. Don't even know how to start logging data on it, but I'll try. Is it a kraken? No, it's a floating colony. Pulsing barrier. This hard barrier is webbed with pulsing nodes. To gain access, we would need to slice through. Somehow. What are we looking at here? This appears to be a huge colonial life form. Is this what remains of the site of the facility? Let's cut it open. Yeah, the yellow and the blue is easier to read than the red on the black text. Behind the barrier, the throbbing interior of the colony is revealed, filled with throngs of zooids, acting as one. Let's go south. Beneath the translucent webs of sphere growth, half-digested walls sit suspended like an exploding room frozen in time. Between the ragged parts of the facility stretch looping bridges, pumping liquid back and forth from the heart of the colony. Ooh, we have our logs. Tentacle corridor. The walls are flowing mass of tentacles. Some have broken away and some are floating freely in the water. We might be able to extract them. Budding zooids. Tiny medusoid creatures are budding from the walls here, splitting off from luminous stems to join the flow. Oh, it is a sample. Whoops. We have a couple of these. Whoops. Sam, he wants to free them. And what do the artificers want Hannah? Has anyone asked them? What do the artificers want Hannah? Do they mean why? Emerson. Constantine is too arrogant. Just because he discovered the artificers doesn't mean he can decide their fate. Oh, they had Constantine also in the last one. Fractured lab, eaten away on one side. I'll call these colony ratis. This floats beautifully across the ocean like some impossible vessel. Eaten away on one side, the remains of this lab are like an open set, a staging ground for the colony's process of sublimation. Why would the colony preserve the rooms of the facility as it consumes them? What a bizarre processes are in action here. The central laboratory is almost complete, apart from the large tree-like growths cutting through its walls. I wonder if this colony is just like a bunch of tree. Wait. We can't let this continue. We never intended this. That thing they are building. I know. Constantine is already left for Site 2. If the facility fails and Site 3 is breached, the oceanic mine can be stopped. If the facility fails and Site 3 is breached, the oceanic mine can be stopped. So Site 2 did seem like it failed. And if Site 3 was the wreck that we saw at first, maybe the oceanic mine was breached or stopped. Dappled light fills the chamber, passing through its complex branching paths orbited by swarms of zooids. This looks like a biologist's laboratory. It must have been the first exploratory base on the planet. They discovered the artificers. They started all of this. These were scientists like me employed by Bacall to study this place. How did it end like this? The mines they were building in the archaeology, the genetic research they were doing here. They were all working towards something bigger than just one lab. How could they have let this happen, these biologists? Our first contact turned into a resource grab. Scan all you can, then let's leave this place. I'll review everything back at base. It won't be long before the colony eats this place away once and for all. Maybe there's bits and pieces that I'm just missing from the narrative here. But wasn't there one point where she said that she had betrayed someone or something of that sort? It was like after everything that I had done, something like that. Colony bladder. Swarms. These shoal of golden life look solid as I approach, but passing through they are little more than flurries of petals caught in the current. Colony opening. The ocean stretches east from here, a blue desert beneath 3 red suns. What might lie out there beyond the range of this suit? Oh, there's another one. That is absurd, Kevin. They are no different to us, adapting their environment so they may survive. No, they are not us. That's the most human thing to say. More gas bladders holding up this structure. I feel like people get corrupted and have their own agendas, and if people were so fascinated by the science, they could be blinded to other things that were happening, not realizing how far they were going or for what. Maybe not. Maybe they were being malicious, right? The artificers are gardeners, not colonizers. They rewrite genetic code to develop mutualism, to foster life. It's kind of like what I was saying. Like, I don't know why we need to colonize, but it seems like something that is superhuman. And even though some of us want to nurture, it's hard, at least in our world currently, to not just use everything instead of make more or garden, like they said. A fragment of a room eaten away into some strange sculpture hanging in the blue. It's hard to imagine what this place once was. Each zooid has a function within the colony. Their flow back and forth evidence some complex process that is impossible to parse. This place is kind of big. Alright, I think that's it. Let's link back and see what happens with all of these samples that I totally didn't see coming. They weren't marked on the map ahead of time. I guess they're just the ones that you miss when you're going through a zone. Or ones that come up after the fact. I I think sometimes once you analyze them, they're like, oh, if you just go back for the stem or whatever. Back up. I've been going through over data from the facility. I was right to assume the facility was the first base on the planet, the start of all of this, and it's the one that's like the furthest eastward on our map. The lead biologist, Constantine Hess, found the artificers here more than 30 years ago. I wonder what sort of beings this artificer was. But what is truly incredible is what he discovered they could do. Genetic reprogramming, rewriting RNA and DNA both in themselves and their local environment. Some Earth cephalopods could rewrite their RNA, but nothing at this scale or detail. The artificers tended to this world, nudging its life into new arrangements. Not only that, but their exoskeletons. They were quantum computers. Silicon wafers of incredible complexity and purity, able to simulate the outcomes of their genetic rewriting. The artificers were housed in natural machines, ones that evolved here over millions of years. Their complexity far outstrips our own. We could have learned so much from them. But Baikal wanted the artificers' abilities for themselves. Something happened. Why are there no artificers left? Why the collapse of these sites? We have to finish the other site. The answers are there, I know it. So there is a third site, which wasn't the base that we had seen first. I don't know if we can explore without ruining. It's kind of what it's getting at, right? As a question. I wonder if we can maintain or even get our world back on track. Oh, let me just highlight them in case you would like to read them on your own time. Once they're full, I'll think about it. Ratis colony. The Ratis colony is a huge colonial organism made of layers of zooids, all occupying different roles within its large and complex body. Closer to a living island or iceberg than a creature, Ratis is a free-floating structure which travels across the surface of Gliese planet's spawning ocean. Trying to observe the patterns of the Ratis is a difficult task. I have counted tens of different zooid types flowing in constant movement throughout its cavernous interior. We can assume that they occupy the typical roles of a colonial organism: motility, defense, digestion, and reproduction, but in a colony so vast, many other processes may be happening. Does Ratis have any neural activity? And what does it cling to the remains of the Baikal lab? Sampling some of the different zooid types may help us understand more about the colony. Not to scale. This is the first time they've said not to scale, but I don't believe the other ones were to scale either, so. They look really cool, very jelly-y. And all the gas keeping all the bits up. Colony, approximately 70 meters. Inflated upper membrane. Ah, crap, I did it again. Sampling the colony's gas bladders has helped us to analyze how Rata stays afloat. It seems that thousands of these bladders of different sizes both keep Ratis at the surface and hold the fragments of laboratory in place. These bladders, with their high oxygen content, can be inflated or deflated individually to respond to currents and move Ratis across the ocean. This suggests that Ratis has some way of orchestrating massive changes across its huge volume. In a sense, perhaps Ratis is better thought of as an individual with various specialized organs rather than a colony, and yet it shows no signs of a central intelligence. It sounds so much like a forest, but I guess that's not quite what they're saying here, where that's more like a colony, and this is saying that it has organs, specialized organs. If I was to discover neural activity within ratis, could I even understand it? This creature is so alien to our way of understanding the world. Analyzing its tentacles has shown that they possess an ability to secrete metal-digesting substances. The conclusion is that these tentacles are consuming the lab piece by piece, using it to fuel the colony's incredible growth. Perhaps ratis was once a tiny creature floating in a biologist's tank. When the facility was breached, ratis was gifted a near inexhaustible amount of metal to consume, allowing it to grow to its vast size. One day, they'll leave away the entire structure, its body carrying the shadow of the planet's first human settlement. I wonder if it's going to stay that big. Sometimes I wish our marks on Earth could be erased so easily, but the only shadow in our oceans are those of thousands of extinct species we will never regain. Ooh. Yeah, in this world, the world is gone. Or Earth. We have Gliese 667c. I'm also curious about the artificers and them being gardeners and changing RNA and DNA. I haven't finished the book, but I know in Lilith's Brood by Octavia Butler, they have an Ui. I've never said it out loud, I only ever read it. But they changed DNA and were able to be like super intelligent and take parts of DNA of creatures that they took or colonized, you know. I haven't gotten that far in the book, so I guess maybe you might know more than me about what they were actually doing on Earth and what they wanted of our main character. Oh my god. Is her name Lilith? Is it her brood? Either way, the lady that they kept captive for a long time. I'm so early in the book, there's no spoilers. If anything, you would spoil me. But yeah, it sounds like a similar sort of creature. Except I think that I've really forgotten what they were called. Seemed more squishy, and these seem like if they're silicone plates, that they were just, quantum computers on the outside. It's pretty wild. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, hanging out, and reading some journal entries. Till next time.